Life can be downright brutal at times. There are moments when the world is crashing down around you, and the pain is just too much to bear. But here's the reality: pain can be your greatest teacher if you let it. In this video, we're diving deep into transforming your pain into power. We'll look at why life hurts sometimes, how to make that hurt work in your favor, and a story that shows just how powerful this transformation can be. Acknowledging the pain when life hits hard. It's natural to want to ignore the pain or run from it. But here's a crucial truth: the more you try to bury your pain, the more it grows. It's like a garden weed that thrives when neglected. To heal, you must first acknowledge that pain exists. Allow yourself to say, yes, life has knocked me down, and it hurts. This is not weakness, it's the beginning of true strength. Story of John. Let's start with the story of John. He was living what most would call a good life, a steady job, a loving partner, and a strong circle of friends. But out of nowhere, life seemed to conspire against him. He lost his job when the company he worked for shut down. His partner, unable to handle the stress, walked out on him. His best friend betrayed him in the midst of it all. John's world fell apart. He was left in a state of confusion and despair, questioning everything he thought he knew about life and himself. John's lowest point came one night when he sat alone in his tiny apartment, surrounded by reminders of everything he'd lost. The silence was deafening. He felt broken, abandoned, and betrayed by life itself. But in that silence, John heard a small voice, a voice that said, "This isn't the end. This is where you begin again." One pain as a catalyst for change. Pain is like a storm that shakes up your life, but it also clears the way for something new. John realized that as much as he hated what he was going through, this pain was forcing him to make changes he never would have made otherwise. He began to think of pain not as a punishment, but as a catalyst, a push to start living life in a way that truly fulfilled him. 2. The power of perspective shift. John decided to shift his perspective on his situation. Instead of viewing his pain as a sign of failure, he started seeing it as an opportunity to reinvent himself. He stopped asking, "Why me?" and started asking, "What can I learn from this?" This shift in mindset was the game changer. He realized that life wasn't happening to him, it was happening for him. Humorous twist. Imagine if John's pain had a personality, a sarcastic mentor who said, "Oh, so you're crying over a breakup? How cute. Wait till you see what's next." Sometimes life's challenges feel like they're piling on, just to test how much you can handle. Like when you're running late to an important meeting and realize you've locked your keys in the car. And just when you think it can't get worse, it starts raining. In those moments, it's important to laugh a little and realize that life is just throwing its quirkiest challenges at you to see how resilient you are. 3. Turning pain into purpose. John's transformation didn't happen overnight. He started setting small, achievable goals. He began working out, not to escape his pain, but to transform it into physical energy. He took online courses to learn new skills that could open up different career paths. Slowly but surely, he started rebuilding his life, brick by brick. The pain that once seemed unbearable became the very reason he was pushing himself to grow. John's new mission. One day, John had an idea. What if he used his pain to help others? He started a blog where he openly shared his struggles, his fears, and his journey to recovery. At first, it was a personal outlet, but then people started responding. They left comments like, "Thank you for sharing this. I thought I was the only one." John's story resonated with people who were going through similar struggles. He realized that by sharing his pain, he was helping others heal from theirs. 4. Embrace vulnerability. John learned that vulnerability isn't a sign of weakness, it's a sign of strength. Being honest about his pain allowed him to connect with others on a deeper level. He stopped pretending to be okay all the time, and in doing so, he found a community of people who were also on their journeys of healing. Vulnerability, he discovered, is the doorway to genuine human connection. Story expansion. Sarah's experience. Enter Sarah, another person who found herself in a similar situation. Sarah was a go-getter, a career-driven woman who had her life planned out to the last detail. But when she faced a personal crisis, her whole world came crashing down. She'd been holding on to a relationship that looked perfect on the outside, but was breaking her spirit from within. It wasn't until everything fell apart that she realized she had been living in denial. Sarah met John through his blog, and his words struck a chord with her. She reached out, and they began sharing their stories. They found solace in knowing they weren't alone, and together they turned their pain into a powerful drive to help others. 5. The journey of resilience. The journey of resilience is full of ups and downs. John and Sarah didn't have all the answers, but they had a new belief that every setback was a setup for a comeback. They learned that resilience isn't just bouncing back, it's bouncing forward, moving beyond where you were before the hurt. Final lesson. Pain is the ultimate teacher. Pain teaches you lessons that success never will. It teaches you who you are when things fall apart. It strips away the masks and leaves you face to face with your true self. It's in these moments of raw honesty that real growth happens. John and Sarah found that through their pain, they discovered their purpose not despite their struggles but because of them. 6. Finding humor in the hurt. Let's be honest, life is a comedy of errors. Sometimes the best thing you can do is laugh at the absurdity of it all. Like when Sarah finally decided to take up jogging as a stress reliever and tripped over her shoelaces on day 1. Or when John's motivational speech at his first community event was interrupted by his phone's alarm reminding him to take out the trash. It's these little moments of humor that keep us grounded and remind us not to take life too seriously. 7. Never give up on yourself. The most important takeaway from John and Sarah's story is to never give up on yourself, no matter how deep the hurt. They both discovered that the only way out of pain is through it. They kept moving forward, step by step, day by day, and eventually they found themselves in a place they never imagined. They could be stronger, wiser, and more resilient than ever before. When life hurts, don't see it as the end, see it as the beginning of a new chapter. Pain is temporary, but the strength you gain from pushing through it is permanent. John and Sarah learned that the worst moments in life often lead to the most beautiful transformations. So if you're in pain right now, remember that this is not where your story ends. This is where your story begins. Let your hurt be the reason you rise, and let your struggles become the foundation of your greatest triumphs.